Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder 2 Duck Talks episode 80. And yes, I know that it has been a while, literally over half a year since the last episode. So in this episode, I will not answer the one or two questions that were in the last episode, but I ask you to ask me everything in the comment section down below. You will get an answer right away, and get yourself a snack, make yourself comfy, get some drink, whatever floats your boat, and enjoy the show. And in the background you can see that I am making the sales buying compilation of all the 9 nations in unspecific order, and just enjoy the clicking, because that is topic number 1, the sales, on which this massive project I worked a year of grinding throughout all nations, helicopters, planes, tanks, ships, boats, it doesn't really matter. And I want to talk about this in just a moment. Another topic would be the servers are broken. What to think about that, and how this is kind of in a funny way connected to the wages and orders and backups Gaijin wanted to put a timer on. And then also I quickly wanted to talk about, for those of you who didn't know it, the video I also made about it a few weeks ago, becoming a master of science. Not even joking, that is actually a thing. Then I wanted to talk about naval forces, the state of the game modes, and also then reviving a bit my YouTube channel, because now I think that I'm in the position to put a bit more effort into video production again, which is obviously a consequence of finally being done with my master thesis, which is still an incredible thing. So let's start with the first topic, and that is the sales. And as you can see, I'm clicking through quite a lot of things here. In fact, I wrote the numbers down, and I have here in the background running some evidence. Overall, I purchased 157 vehicles throughout all 5 branches. Again, boats, ships, planes, helicopters, tanks, doesn't really matter, throughout all the 9 nations, which were kind of on sale with their respective 50% discounts. Obviously, there were certain vehicles that I unlocked which were not on sale, such as the squadron activity reward vehicles. There is no discount, and stuff that I've unlocked in the last 2 patches. So overall, I spent a whopping 57.5 million silver lines. And then I calculated it through, and 43.5 million silver lines I actually saved. So I also bought stuff for 40 million, which were not on discount, because I could afford it. And that brings me to a subtopic. I read through the comments, and a lot of you were saying, oh boy, you're so rich with what I began were 265 million silver lines. Why do you even care? Why do you wait for sales? It's completely unnecessary. I don't understand people like you. Why do you do this? Well, first of all, it was a project to show that what I say, waiting for such discounts, etc., really literally pays off, even for me. And the reason I have those silver lines are because I wait for discounts such as the Gaijin anniversary sales, which are always around Halloween. Then I avoid to purchase stuff that I don't play in the first place. Then I also don't play usually stuff that has high repair costs. And the reason why some of the stuff that I bought was actually spaded when I bought it, and also some of the vehicles had a talisman on it, was that I got them already for a test drive, and that is what you can do as a content creator. And I understand that a lot of you won't do this, but even so, you can unlock stuff and not purchase it if you do not really need it to unlock a new rank in your nation. Those cases happen, and so after a while, maybe stuff has changed, and you have some extra silver lines, buy the stuff, have it. And then I wanted to further calculate this through. So without the discounts, the 157 vehicles that I bought would have cost me a whopping 101 million silver lines. And further, to then also put them into a crew costs around about 28% of the purchasing price, and the expert crew, which on a lot of vehicles you need to be competitive, to bring down your reload, etc., costs the same as the purchasing price. So that's another 101 million and another 28 million for getting it into the crew slot. Together, that would be 230 million silver lines that this vehicles that I'm currently still buying in the background would have cost me, right? Without the sales, etc. And you get no discounts for putting it into a crew, and also no discounts on the expert crew. Maybe I can talk to Gaijin to implement this for the 10th year's anniversary next year, where also the mouse will come back for sure. So from my staggering 265 million silver lines without the sales and buying it all right away, crew, etc., I would have been left with only 35 million silver lines. Now that's still a lot of money, but it's actually not that much if you think about the following. I'm playing this game for over 8.5 years. For the majority of time, I'm playing with a premium account, and I have access to some of the best premiums. I know how to play the game, how to really earn a lot of money, and I'm talking about this in just a moment with the other topic. So to only then be left with 35 millions, and still, looking for playing stuff that doesn't have high repair costs or avoid dying, which is a pro gamer tip, wink wink, no it isn't, then it's not that much. And the reason why I have those silver lines in the first place is because I'm doing this waiting for discounts for a few years. Maybe not to this extent, but it also shows how much I'm capable of going for long-term projects, even though it is quote-unquote just a hobby. To be honest though, War Thunder is a second job. Some say even my main job, but no, I'm actually having an actual work. Then we come to the second topic, and that is talking about the server hamster committing die. For a couple of weeks now, I think it might be 2 weeks now, we have really broken servers, and while Gaijin said that they would have fixed it, we still have some issues here and there. On the other hand, that means that Gaijin was actually forced to communicate with us because it was affecting literally everybody. You couldn't get into the game in the first place, you were kicked out of the queue on a regular basis with the message that the server is busy, you were kicked out of matches and then still had crew lock, which is just something that Gaijin should have immediately disabled after the servers went berserk, and so many issues were correlating with this. So Gaijin made actually a dev blog explaining this, and that is actually a positive thing. They went out and explained, first of all, that they have an issue, which is nothing usual for Russian companies. Think about what Wargaming did with all the CC disaster they had like a few months ago. So that Gaijin actually went out and communicated this with the community, or to the community, is a good thing. That they gave a proper explanation that sounds somewhat reasonable, although how this could have happened is another thing, is also a good thing, and I encourage Gaijin to do this more often. So because then we just are okay, they have a problem, they acknowledged it, all good and dandy. But there is one thing that really was strange. So for the next topic, which were the timer to wages and orders, let's just have a quick look into my inventory. As you can see, I have a lot of RP and Silverline boosters and a lot of wages and orders, as well as many backups. And on the latter three, Gaijin tried to implement timers, and the community kind of revolted, and rightfully so. Now for me, as you can see, I am, regardless of what kind of timer Gaijin would have initially put on, there are a few things that need to be addressed. First of all, I never could ever use all of them, and if in every battle you can only activate one order, for instance, then you have a bit of a problem, right? Per team, the same kind. And so, for example, the golden battle wages, all three of them, are no longer available. I think the last one I got just before the introduction of the marketplace. So those are ancient golden battle wages. They are for me a privilege to have, and you never know when Gaijin will kick me out of the CC program because I'm too critical. Jokes aside, then there are also others which are really valuable and really to get easy civil lines from if you know what you're doing, if you're playing with your team, etc. And that is important for many people, and I still want to keep them because they were rewards for daily logging. I have daily logins more than 5 years straight in a row, right? And all I got was this little stupid decal. Then further, for instance, orders such as the anti-mech and the AA are vital in really tripling your income, and you can really stack up them together with big boosters to get those show-off matches, which are really cool to show. But more importantly, Blind Hunt and the Avenger order are really important for air realistic battle to spot the last enemy, to end the game in a reasonable amount of time. And also the universal backups for planes, ships and tanks are really something that I kind of paid for with the battle passes, right? There were certain rewards, and to put a timer off them was really bad. And here is the funny thing. Then Gaijin mentioned, yeah, you know, all those items in the inventory, they slow down the servers or stress it out or something. And then like a week later, after the community revolted, we got all those server issues and hiccups. What a coincidence, right? So that was just a meme that would write itself. But in all honesty, yeah, looking at this, I should really use more of those. But I also made a video, you know, about the anti-mech and AA order, how to really stack up them to earn massive civil lines, because I told people, hey, you have them lying around in your inventory most likely and don't really know how to use them. Try it. So I did like a video about this a year ago and another one a few months ago, and people seem to really like it. So there is that. So the very next topic is a bit more enjoyable maybe for those of you who haven't noticed it. I have become a master of science. Yeah, I'm a chemical engineer and I'm very proud of this, how it happened, because I had to build my own laboratory. I had a lot of freedom, but I actually got it done, and then I finished my master thesis, which were a lot of very long night shifts, and I also then finished the master thesis and the overall grade was very good. So this is still a very strange feeling, and I made a video about it to further elaborate on. Now, what does this have to do with War Thunder or the YouTube channel? Well, in order to finish the master thesis, to really concentrate on it, I drove back video production, I drove back playing as much as usual, and yeah, it paid off, and nobody can ever take this degree away from me, and I'm really, really proud of it. But that means that yeah, my channel suffered a little bit because YouTube doesn't really allow to go its content creators on vacation, which I did then afterwards for a week in Croatia, which was beautiful, to go on holiday, and that unpunished. So yeah, the amount of views that I get on my videos is very low. The retention isn't really good. I have the statistics, the analytics. It doesn't really it's not really a good thing if your channel runs on more or less daily videos and then you kind of stop that and try to kickstart it off again. So that's a bit of a problem. Now the issue is when reviving my channel, how do you do this? because I've noticed that with the community tab I can reach more people than with a normal video, but certain videos went through the roof where I made certain predictions, such as massive sales in War Thunder, or that the mouse is there again for sale. People were really interested in those videos because yeah, it's a hot topic. But then there is the question, do you even see my videos in the recommendations if you are subscribed, or are you watching my channel just casually? And what is your favorite style of videos? Is it just something like Duck Talks where I just ramble about a certain topic, about certain news in War Thunder, or is it vehicle reviews, or is it just pure gameplay? Is it then just something where I would play together with others and just it's normal gameplay, not dedicated to a certain vehicle, right? And the next thing is, if you are interested in events, in community events that I do on my Discord, where you can find the link to in the video description down below. So don't be shy, just join and see if other people are around as well. And yeah, don't be shy to talk to them, because that is the Discord for. And if you see me in a voice channel, don't hesitate to join. That's my invitation for you today and for the upcoming events, which I want to try out, but I'm not quite sure if people want it. A lot of people made a positive feedback for when I suggested it, and I have a lot of good ideas. So when more battleships, for instance, would come out, that we do like a reincarnation of the Battle of Jutland, you know, where you have two battle lines. When we have more battle cruisers on both the British and the German side, you know, we can do the run to the south, the run to the north, and then the actual fleet engagements, maybe some night action. You can actually in a custom battle make the weather really stormy, which looks cinematic as fuck. It is incredible how good War Thunder can look, and it's really strange that this is not implemented in a normal battle, because you know we have kind of night battles for tanks, which I despise. But yeah, I guess I'm asking you for a bad thing, and because then vision and grey box shooting, yeah, it's not really working out too well. Anyway, what I want to say is that the community Discord events might be a thing, so join the Discord and let's see how this goes. And now let's talk about naval forces, the state of the game mode, and that has changed considerable over the last year or so. So at the start of the year, I noticed that yeah, destroyers are really powerful, such as the Fletcher or the German Z20 Karl Galster, and I just did some civil line farming with them just for the lols of them, right? So you could get into a game and earn up to 200,000 civil lines, and that without a wager or a booster. And I had games where I stacked everything up, you know, a big 300% civil line booster. Again, I made a video about how to get them by just playing the game, and also put then in the right moment the anti-mech order on, which also counts for ship, funnily enough. And I literally earned millions of civil lines. And then the battle pass arrived, where the Z25 was announced, and a week before that Gaijin changed with an update the game mechanics, that we got away from the HE meta, where you would blacken an entire segment of an enemy destroyer with a single 5-inch 38 HE shell, and you can easily one-shot enemy destroyers. Yeah, it was overpowered, but then we went into the SAP or AP meta, where or meta, you know, where we just had to aim for internal structures, and they would do considerable more damage. And that was for me at first a bad change, and I'm still not okay how little HE does in a DD versus DD fight, and not every nation has HE. For instance, Japanese destroyers, with one or two exceptions here and there, they just don't have HE. They don't have AP, so they are at a considerable disadvantage, whereas their long lances, and they are still in the launcher tube, still would blow up. So this was not a change for the better. But going further to cruisers, cruisers were partially unplayable because then you would spawn on an open ocean map versus battleships. Then, clocking forwards a few months, Gaijin made some serious changes. First of all, cruisers now take the appropriate damage from battleship shells, but they wouldn't face always battleships, only the best cruisers would face them. And while the BR decompression at first glance was a good thing, that means now that the battleships, which the majority of the still don't have AA, still would get nuked by a plane or by a patrol boat, which would sneak up because it just would render under 2 kilometers for them if you're in third person view. And that is obviously a pity because those battleships have huge repair costs. HMS Marlborough at introduction fully stated 55,000 silver lines, and then also the HMS Colossus with 88,000 silver lines fully spaded. Now you can obviously imagine that this is a problem if you have no AA to defend yourself, and every fart with wings can literally bomb you into oblivion without any sort of chance to maneuver or to get out of the way, and the bombs are really strong, so that's really frustrating, and therefore you need the backups, but backups are a rare thing. And then if you get, well, still revenge killed for a second time by another plane, you still have to pay the repair costs, and further, you wouldn't get out of a just fine battleship if you are in a domination game mode, let's say with 3 separate caps and a patrol boat for the enemy team, in some cases even a bot, would just simply cap 1 and 2, and you have no chance of reaching one of those caps before the game would end by ticket bleed. But the majority of people, I guess 95% or even higher, would not bail out of a battleship to go into a patrol boat, which they might not even have, because the very best patrol boats cost as much to research as battleships, and that with a significantly lower battle rating. So ships with a battle rating of 3.7, patrol boats with a battle rating of as low as 3.7 or 4.0 costs up to 400,000 RP to research, so nobody really goes for those tiny puny patrol boats. And the funny thing is that in the feedback loop of all the events, patrol boats still decide many games instead of the big guns. So the issue that I have with all that I just explained to is that the issue with balance and game fun and game mechanics and the map design, map layout, whatever, it hasn't changed in years, and we still have very long queue times because of all the nasty things that new players have to experience. The compression, because the tech tree split that we experienced a year or so, where just ships were split into Blue Water and Coastal Fleet, was a good idea, but it was badly executed. The most destroyers still begin at battle rating 3.3, where it just makes no sense. And I think that it's possible to design both the tech trees and the maps in such a way that every ship has its viable place and can be played and has its point to be played, right? But Gaijin is unwilling to do this. Gaijin refuses to make the game mode fun, accessible for new players, and kind of fair. Look, everything that you can want from a naval game mode is there. You have the fantastic damage model, which is modular. Although, delayed magazine explosions and all this, I just get this into the category of bugs or not working systems. But the principle is good, that there is such a huge difference in the choice of ammunition between the various different ship classes, depending on what you have and what you fight, is also, just like with tanks, a very good thing and is kind of a challenge. And the very next thing is that you have kind of realistic ballistics and reload times, and the armor actually matters. But then, you know, something like that for battleships, AP is pointless because it does little to no damage, yet Sep just can blow up everything, is kind of a bad thing. So overall, Naval Forces looks beautiful. When I play it on full settings, you know, with a 4K resolution on my gigantic monitor, it's beautiful as all hell. But the gameplay is a bit shallow and hollow. But then again, there are also matches where the battleships are just very relaxing to play. Just not for the cruisers on the receiving end of the shell salvo. And yeah, that is actually the final statement of Naval Forces. It's kind of a stillbirth. It is not really developing. Yeah, we receive new content. There are always some hardcore fans, but the long queue times of up to 3-4 minutes are an indicator that, well, the matches are really underpopulated, and still half of the matches are filled with bots because the matchmaker doesn't find enough players even after a queue time of 3 to 4 minutes. And while Battleship have their moments and can be enjoyable and fun, to get them and to run them is everything but enjoyable. And so I hope that Gaijin kind of works on this. I've given many feedback cycles, and even Flipstuck has given up, you know, and that is not a good thing. That's not a good sign. I want Naval Forces to be a success, but just like with helicopters, there are just a few big rulers, K50, K52, and the rest, well, is kind of gunfoot. And that is just asking too much from the community. And you know what? That's it for me today. So again, if you have any question, ask me anything in the comment section down below. You might get a reply right away, or you just get your answer in the very next Duck Talks, which I hope will be a bit more of a regular series again. That's it for me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this rambling. Let me know in the comment section again what you think about Duck Talks, if I should continue this, or, well, I guess if there is nobody replying, nobody has gotten so far into the video. I hope you enjoyed your snacks and your drinks, and you had a bit of a relaxing time. And, well, we shall see each other on the waves in the skies and on the battlefields of War Thunder.